Calling to order Historic Landmarks Commission, March 11th, 2026. Let's have a roll call vote, or not roll call vote, roll call.
Thank you, Chair Grunbein. I'll begin with Chair Grunbein.
Present.
Vice Chair Uli.
Present.
Commissioner Butler.
Here.
Commissioner Dorden is not here yet. Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik.
Yes, here.
Commissioner Lodge.
Here.
And Commissioner McClure.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you.
All right. Next item is public comment. Any member of the public can address the commission for up to 2 minutes on any subject within our jurisdiction that is not scheduled on this agenda for public discussion. So is there, all right.
Thank you, Chair Grunbein. We do have 2 members of the public that would like to speak. First, we'll have Sherry Ray, followed by Rick Clausen. Sherry, if you want to come up. And just make sure your microphone's on.
Hi, thanks for allowing me to be here today. There's a saying, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. It was 4 years ago that our 3-person tree team began researching and meeting to compile a comprehensive report to the city. And 3 years ago this month that we met with the city historian and city arborist. Back then, we believed it would take just a few meetings to develop a plan to implement a replacement and maintenance plan for the living landmark on Anapamu Street. We never imagined it would take countless appearances before this body, the Street Tree Advisory Committee, the Parks Commission, and even an appeal before City Council to restore an official city landmark. Yesterday it finally happened. A total of 40 one-year-old Italian stone pines were planted on Anapamu Street to give new life to that much cherished and very special row of trees that provided shade and shelter for so many for so long. But this experience has revealed many areas of concern that left the protection and preservation of this historic landmark completely out of the hands of the Historic Landmarks Commission and leaving commissioners powerless to officially intervene on the real impending loss of a significant landmark dedicated years ago by City Council. It is imperative that we examine the flawed process in place, learn lessons from that ordeal that thankfully was successful, and make the necessary changes so it doesn't happen again. The fact is, without an extraordinary amount of focused time, access to resources, and institutional knowledge, the trees planted yesterday would have been common oak trees, without regard for the historical importance of the Italian stone pines to that location and to the fabric of our community. And we remember once again the lesson of the Lorax. Until somebody like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So thank you very much for all you did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Rick Clausen.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Sherry stole my whole text. But you know that this is, I was told by Santa Barbara Beautiful yesterday that this is Arbor Week, and I can see that Vice Chair Uli is wearing his foliage jacket in honor of that, and I'm happy to see that. I'm also happy that Sherry referred to us as a team when we started to inventory the trees a couple of years ago. I usually refer to us as co-conspirators and sometimes feel that we are on the outside looking in, but what happened yesterday with the planting of those trees was testament to the fact that, yes, unaffiliated, independent citizens can start from the ground up, so to speak, and get something done that they want to get done. There's a lot that gets done that we have no control over, but that was exceptional, and I'm quite proud of that. But since the beginning, and including the times that I've been here to speak to you, we have thought of this as a two-pronged effort. Certainly there is the forestry side of that, and we pursued that up to the City Council. But there was the other part of that, and that is the landmark part of it, and I've been here and spoke about that as well. And we'd like to see some movement on that. The last time that I was here and brought this up, the architectural historian, Nicole Hernandez, for whom I have great respect, and you know that, acknowledged, yes, signage would be a good thing to alert people, this is a historic alley that you are entering now or walking along, but the cranky part is always the funding. Okay, I get it. But another department, Department of Park and Rec, had the even bigger lift to buy 40 trees, and they found a funding source for that. I'm hoping there's a lesson in that for HLC. I know you don't have staff much as a whole department, but thanks for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I don't have any more speaker slips for in-person public comment for under general, but I do just want to remind the audience that if anyone wants to speak under any other items on the agenda, that you can fill out a speaker slip on the pink clipboard that's on that wall, and you can bring it up to me, and I'll call your name under that item. But other than that, I'll move to virtual participation, which we don't have anyone online with us, but we did receive written correspondence from Kevin Boss, and I'll give it back to you.
All right, great. So before I close public comment, we did have the Kevin Boss thing. I did want to make a comment. We won't have a discussion because we can't. But I do want to make a comment because I know that all the commissioners got it and received it as well. And I want to make some clarification because there was 2 weeks ago we had discussions or at least had the topic of State Street brought up, and there were some comments that Mr. Boss made that about my involvement and our firm's involvement on it. I do want to make sure that we have a clear record on it in terms of what is, because I have been, over the years, has been involved, been in touch with the city attorney about it as well, making sure. But just so that everyone knows, in terms of a conflict of interest, yeah, as we're working purely pro bono and basically as we all are basically here as well in our subcommittees and that. And so all the things that we've been doing have been a donation to the city over the years. And so the conflict of interest does not exist. And as well, the question of whether if someone goes to your alma mater, are you allowed to comment or rule on their projects? That's also very obviously not true, because we would have half the architects that went to Cal Poly wouldn't be able to actually vote on their projects if we applied those same things. So I want to get, normally I don't address public comment, but it had specific things that he was commenting on, so I want to make sure that get the record clear for everyone as to how those all have played out. So, okay. And with that, I'll close public comment, and we'll move on to item B, approval of the minutes of Historic Landmarks Commission meeting of February 25th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any edits? All good? All right. In that case, let's have a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. I'll begin with Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Abstain.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right. On to item C, approval of the minutes of Historic Landmarks Commission consent meeting of February 25th, 2026.
Motion to,
Oh,
Second.
good. All right, we have a motion and a second.
second.
Under discussion, any edits or questions about that? All right, let's have a roll call vote on that then.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Ensberg,
Abstain.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right. And then item D, announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, and appeals.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. Staff just has one brief announcement. We have hired our new architectural historian who will be starting in April. And so there will be more information about that to come.
Great. That is good news. All right. All right, on to, any
Chair
other
Grumbine?
announcements? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I have an announcement and also a future agenda item request. I wanted to add to the comments made already by Mr. Clausen and Ms. Ray about the stone pines, the new baby trees to restore the iconic Anapamu landmark, LA, of Italian stone pines. as they reported, have been planted, and they are healthy and adorable. I attended yesterday and at the planting, and I got to help shovel some of the soil into one of the trees. It was a perfect day. It was a cool, overcast day, so it was the perfect day for planting. And John Palmentary with KEYT was there with his cameras to capture and document the important event. And it aired last night on TV, and I urge you all to go online to see the full story. The workers were there to plant, and representatives from Parks and Recreation were there to support, and the city arborist Nathan Slack gave an explanation about the trees. And community activists Rick Clausen, Emma Brinkman, and Sherry Ray, who were instrumental in the successful outcome and restoration of the landmark, were there in attendance, along with others from the Pearl Chase Society and Santa Barbara Beautiful, all providing essential support for this positive outcome. So please do watch the Palmentary KEYT broadcast and go say hello to the new trees.
All right. Thank you.
So that is that. And then I also wanted to say about future agenda items. I believe that we would all benefit from a discussion about HLC, our purpose, our responsibilities, and our current challenges. And as one commissioner, I believe that it is vitally important now, especially given the major work being considered for State Street, the center of our historic district, El Pueblo Viejo, and our primary purpose for being. I have been nagging about this for a while, and I think perhaps now is the perfect time to particularly address this, given the letters that the chair addressed, and also the dialogue that was in our packet for today, and the many other concerns that have been expressed regarding HLC and our limited involvement over the past few years. So I would respectfully request that we agendize all the time needed to hear from the public and for a full discussion by our commission. Thank you.
All right. So, any other announcements or anything before, but I do want to respond to that discussion question, but I want to make sure we have any other announcements or anything else first before we continue with that. Okay, so I think while it would be great to have city let us know when the next thing for State Street is ready to be agendized for us to see it, I think that agendizing something that is not, and unfortunately, and I think unfortunately but legally, is not in our purview right now, which it was taken out of our purview and put by City Council, which has the authority to do so, into a State Street Advisory Commission, informing that whole thing. Unfortunately, I don't like the process that was set up, but it was set up perfectly legally in my understanding, and it's something that we need to abide by. And I think that if we agendize a discussion of that thing without being able to actually discuss the design or those which we heard from last time that we, or at least from the correspondence, that is set to be reviewed after City Council reviews it, then it will go as a draft to us for our commentary and review. I think that that's having a discussion of where things are right now with State Street when it has been officially taken out of our hands is not, it would not be a fruitful discussion. I don't think it would be an appropriate discussion. We have had before discussions about, so discussion of our purview is fine, and that if we want to have that discussion of our purview, I don't think it should be a discussion of State Street itself. But if we want City Council attorneys to come and explain where things fall and why, I think that's good and important. But I think, unfortunately, that is our situation, and I don't think it's a good idea to agendize something that we don't have purview to decide on.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Lindick?
I didn't hear that as being,
Pardon
Commissioner.
my interruption. Through the chair to the rest of the commission, the request for the discussion item has been noted, and now it's starting to turn into a discussion. So we will discuss the request, Commissioner Ensberg's request, among staff, and we will respond to the commission. And I think we need to cut off the discussion for now.
So I didn't hear that as being the request of Cass Ensberg. I think that a bigger picture is, who are we, what do we do here, and what do we see happening in the city, and how is Landmarks able to effectively improve on that, so on and so forth. I didn't hear her aiming at State Street. Was I wrong?
That's correct.
Yeah. So I think a general discussion of what's going on in life would be good.
Okay, so, and framed within the context of what is HLC's role and purpose, and that's fine. I don't want to get into a discussion of the current reality of State Street.
I
or
agree.
anything-
I agree.
Or anything else
I
of
agree.
that sort.
I
So,
agree.
So, yeah, and if there are strategies that because we don't like where things have gone in the past, what are the strategies for helping it not to go there again is a perfectly good discussion. So, to staff, if that, if we can have that discussion agendized, it would be good.
Yes, we've
Okay.
noted, as Commissioner Ensberg stated, we have that
Okay.
discussion request noted. Thank
Thank
you.
All right.
you.
Thank you.
It's always good to check the map.
Yes, I agree, but sometimes not when it's on your phone when you're driving across the intersection. All right,
Thank you.
yes. Subcommittee reports.
I can speak to State Street. We all received a memo dated March 5, along with other commissions, which outlined where State Street, what the State Street master plan process is ongoing. So I'm not going to speak to that.
Okay.
It's there, you've got it. If you have any questions about it, whatever.
And just as a point of clarity, you had received the originally Mula Zoides plan that was shown to the, or something from what was shown to the Strong Towns and,
No.
was that
No.
ever?
Distributed? What I saw came off the news, probably the Independent.
Okay,
There's been no gifting of me to anything.
okay. All right, great. Okay, any other subcommittee?
I can say, thank you, Chair. Well, we're going to have a presentation for, normally I would give the report about our wonderful project that's moving forward, we hope, for the West Figueroa Paseo, and I don't think I need to really say anything because we are going to have a presentation, so
Yep.
I'll just leave that.
All
Right.
right, any other subcommittee reports? All right, well, let's roll into, time-wise, we're doing good, okay? Only 2 minutes behind. All right, roll into item 1, 9 West Figueroa Street. This is a request for feedback and direction to staff regarding proposal to make short-term enhancements in the Paseo adjacent to City Lot 3. Proposal to demolish 6 concrete columns, patch pavement, apply street bond epoxy layer throughout Paseo, add overhead string light, and add a large pot with landscaping in front of an existing transformer, refresh existing landscape planters, and remove security fencing. No final appealable action will take place at this meeting. All right, welcome. If you would introduce yourselves for the record.
Chair Grumbine, before
yes.
we get started and
Yes.
before introductions, my apologies, just wanted to give a few comments on this item. This is a discussion item, so no appealable action is requested today. However, staff is seeking your direction on the proposed short-term enhancements of the Lot 3 Paseo. The proposed process is to go forward with just demolition of the 4 columns in the Paseo, and to do that, we would like to do that under an admin approval. What's presented today is a fairly minor scope, and it certainly leaves the option open for future enhancements as well. So just wanted to give you a heads up on the process.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Mr. Hamilton. And as Mrs. Ensberg noted, we have, this has been the fruit of Commissioner McClure, and especially the Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Ensberg, and myself, working with city staff along the way, and this is sort of the minor immediate stuff, and then there's a longer range thought as well, but for right now, this is what there's budget for, and we thought was a good way of cleaning up and getting it open. So this has been a, fruit of many people pitching in, which is, I'm very thankful for as well. All right, so to staff, if you could.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. My name is Sarah Clark. I'm the Downtown Services Manager in the City Administrator's Office of Housing and Community Vitality. We have a new name. And thank you very much for...
Commissioner.
Our screen isn't working.
Oh. What? One works and then the other one.
working on
Must
it.
be you, Cass. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, I'll just give you a quick overview. Thank you very much for your time today and for discussing this item. I know that most of you, I believe, have some familiarity with the long history of attempts to make improvements to this paseo. And so we're here today with you, before you with a plan for a package of short-term improvements that we think will be low cost but have a relatively high impact in terms of improving the appearance of the paseo. And we're very grateful to the interim working group for downtown and State Street committee members or Commissioners Ensberg and Chair Grumbine and McClure for working with us on this and helping to get us to a place where I think that we have something that we can take forward for the community. So before I turn it over to Chelsea Swanson to give you a little bit more of an in-depth overview, I'll just give you a quick rundown of what we're looking at for this part of the project. Again, at this point, our budget is very limited, so we don't have budget to do the full, long-term suite of improvements that we had initially hoped to do. But in this case, we'll be looking at demolishing the columns, adding additional lighting through overhead string lights and twinkle lights in the central tree, refreshing the landscaping that is in the planters, particularly the ground level planters that are empty right now, adding a large potted plant in order to screen the view of the transformer from West Figueroa Street, refreshing paint where we're able, and painting the pavement surface, which I believe is like 5 different types of hard surface right now to create a more unified look. And so I'll turn it over to Chelsea. She's got some visuals for you and she can give you a better description.
Thank you, Sarah. Just wanted to orient everyone. First, I'm Chelsea Swanson, project planner. So we're looking at the area outlined in yellow, which again, I think most of you are familiar with, but this is at Lot 3. It's a paseo between the lot and Figueroa Street. So as Sarah mentioned, one of the goals is to remove approximately 6 columns that have formerly had a wood trellis over them many, many years ago. It was removed, it was rotting, and so we want to open up the paseo and get the columns removed. Also, as mentioned, there are many different materials in the paseo due to utility work over time and not replacing those materials. So one of the goals is to create more of a uniform look. And the way we would propose to do that is with it's called Street Bond. It's an epoxy layer that you can roll on or spray on. We got a few samples for the working group. They all looked very similar in the catalog, and then when we applied them in real life, they were all quite different. So the one with the green arrow pointing to it in the center is the one that was preferred by the working group. That's what we plan to go with. The images on the right are really just examples of how this has been applied in other areas. It can be on streets, paseos, roads, that type of thing. Another element, as Sarah pointed out, is we would like to put overhead string lighting. So we would use the same spec that we've used on State Street, which you can see in the photo there. We've looked at doing more of like a zigzag pattern, but we're open to any pattern suggestions, and that would be throughout the entire paseo. I don't have an image of it, but as Sarah mentioned, we would also put twinkle lights on the center tree to add additional lighting. As mentioned, we would like to add some screening in front of the transformer as you view it from the Figueroa Street side, which it's closest to. we would propose a large singular pot in front of it, and an olive tree would be proposed in it. There's an option to add, we do have concerns about people sitting and hanging out, which can happen if we have a large pot, so there's an option to add some aloe at the base of it as well. There are 3 existing in-ground planters where we would refresh the landscaping with jade, which is right here, which would match what's in the existing planter that you can see from Figueroa Street. And then lastly, we were going to propose 2 pots on the sides of the entrance to the office that you go to through the Paseo with some geranium in them, which is in the lower right here. And this is an in-house, obviously Photoshop, so don't, this is not going to be exactly the color, or we hope in real life it'll look a little nicer. But this is the idea, the concept, screen the transformer from the Figueroa side, add overhead lighting, and a uniform paving color throughout. This is the view from the rear of the Paseo. There's 2 trash enclosures that are existing on the sides that would be painted to look much nicer. There's an existing planter on the left where we would add some of the jade plant, and then these 2 planters here, we would also add jade plant. The geranium would be proposed in 2 pots here at the entrance. String lighting would be at this tree in the center. And then right now there's some potted plants that we would clear out, and a few trash carts that would also be removed from the Paseo. So again, with the idea to open it up completely. And then of course the fencing would come down. And then I'm just going to quickly go to a plan view just to give you another perspective if it's helpful. So Figueroa Street here at the top of the plan, and lot 3 at the bottom. The transformer is approximately here, and so again, the idea would be to screen it with a pot here with the olive tree in it. These circles are just the column locations that would be removed, and then the jade plant would be added in the existing planters. And again, it's not in this image, but there would be overhead string lighting throughout. So that pretty much covers what we're proposing.
Yeah.
Welcome your questions. Thank you.
Great. And just as another note for commissioners, while this is the sort of midway plan, the early plan, they also tied to the longer range plan too for additional, garbage enclosures and things like that. But then picking out the areas that can be done now with a smaller budget, which don't have to reverse things later. So the idea was that with Arcadia had worked out a little bit more, and with everyone's the working group and even the mayor, and it was a village, even a city, the nice thing is they're not going to have to go backwards from this plan to the next, finally finished plan. So, so I just wanted to add that as an additional piece. Okay, so if it completes your presentation, we can go to public comment on this item.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. At this time, I do have one speaker slip for public comment. Rick Clausen, if you want to come speak.
Thank you, Commissioners. You turn it off. Thank you, Commissioners. I'll say it again. I'm quite happy to see this item on the agenda today, and I'll just give you the executive summary. I think it looks terrific. From the public standpoint, and I may be the only person here as a member of the public, but I do remember this project when it started several years ago, and I was frankly a little suspicious. It came, I think, from the transportation or the traffic department, and it seemed to me like it was wimpy promising to pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. That, if you let us close this Paseo because it's a Marburg trash place and unsheltered people live there and whatnot, all those reasons that the businesses wanted it closed, we will figure out a way to create a Paseo continuation from across the other side of Figueroa. I thought, okay, I don't buy it. But I will say, removal of the columns, yay. The hardscape, making the hardscape continuous, terrific. The string lights with hoods, as are displayed, is good. I mean, I like that, as opposed to the unhooded ones that give a lot of light pollution. I would wonder if the lighting suggestions meet EPV guidelines, because right now on State Street in EPV, there are flashing neon lights, there are twirling lights in shop windows and all that don't meet the guidelines. But in general, I like everything that I see here. I think it'll be a good addition. It continues the historic trail of paseos, which I think also offer a possible solution to something else that you'll probably deal with, and I'll speak again later.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. With that, I don't have any more speaker slips for in-person public comment. We do not have any participants online with us, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'll give it back to you.
All right, thank you. All right, to the commission for discussion, because this, I guess we can have questions too, but we can have sort of an open question discussion. And Commissioner McClure?
There's two trees really close to one of the buildings, and there was talk about removing them. And I think they should come out. They're really close, and they're clogging up. They're kind of harming this guy's roof, and his gutters are full of stuff.
And is that part of this plan? Just want to check that.
Yeah, Chair Grumbine. So
Remember, we talked about it different times.
yeah, the sort of phase 2 plan that we're looking at does include removal of those trees. Previously, we had discussed with Nathan Slack, our urban forestry superintendent, the possibility of removing those. He was not, he didn't view that super favorably. He felt that they were healthy trees and should remain as such. We understand that there's a strong interest in doing that, so we will be revisiting that discussion with him. If that's something that he's amenable to at this time, then we will pursue it. But we didn't include it specifically in this set of plans.
Gotcha. Okay. Commissioner Ansberg, did you want to say anything about it?
Well, thank you. Yes, I would like to, yeah, I do feel, we talked about it when we had our meeting. We met with Mr. Hamilton Roll and Ms. Swanson over there and had a good walkthrough of everything. It was very helpful to review it all together. And we did look at those trees again. And they are, they're into the foundation of the building. I know that the owner wants them out. They are a perfect rodent highway to the roof. So I really, we would be happy to participate in that discussion with the arborist if you think that would be helpful. But I think we feel really strongly that they need to come out for that reason, and also aesthetics, because we're trying to clean it all up and really focus on that central tree and give it more power as the one piece in the front, in the middle of the paseo. So there's a number of reasons why. And so we'd be happy to help with that. And then the other is, I just wanted to ask, we did talk about the two poles where the globes are. And they were originally talked about removing the poles. And then we thought, well, how about if we could find in the city's vast storage of
Collection.
replacement parts, if we could find a couple of lanterns that could replace those, that would really be nice. And they wouldn't have to be exactly identical. They could just be similar, we felt, to have those globes replaced with a nice lantern, which of course would go to help with the lighting that we're trying to increase, and also the aesthetic would work really beautifully as well. So I wanted to ask about that. And then I just would also say on the lights, the Tivoli lights, of course they need to meet the night sky, and we've been talking about that all along. But we had sketched up, I think, in our little charrette thing we did, crisscross, which would be the easiest way to connect to the building and then get them across there. So unless the others think differently, I think that would be the best, most simplest way to go. But great job, and thank you so much for the presentation, and we're very excited to move forward.
Yeah. Other commissioners want to, Commissioner Butler?
I'd like to jump in, if I might.
Yeah,
We'll go, okay, that's fine. Commissioner
Beauty before age.
Yeah, because you had a view down the Paseo from the parking lot. Yeah. Is there a reason why you're not taking any of the paving material out?
So Commissioner Levick, through the chair, for the sort of phase two, the longer term project that we hope to do someday, we would be replacing all the paving material with permeable pavers. At this point, we don't have budget for that project. So our last estimate there was, I think, around 125,000.
Budget is always the problem.
Yeah.
No offense to the work done by staff and others and commissioners, but this appears to me to be a rather cold and soulless paseo. There's no poetry to it. It's cold and soulless. And the problem I see is we've got all this paving, which is not tying anything together other than the walls on both sides. And I'm wondering why some of that, and you talk about the problem of having unhoused people occupying the space. And I've thought about this, and I say, why doesn't the city cut back on the amount of paving and put down large cobbles like you've done in roundabouts and other places? A lot of large cobbles that would not be inviting to anybody to want to sit, sleep, or stand on. But you'd be, with the paving, you'd develop a way to walk through it. The large cobbles could be dry landscaping, if you want to call it that. But I'm trying to find a way to diminish this massive amount of paving that isn't really indicative of a paseo as such as I see it. So that's my only comment. I think there's a way to take and keep the unhoused from laying around here by making the flat surface so uncomfortable they wouldn't. And that's the big cobbles I see the city using in roundabouts and other places. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Butler?
First of all, this is a step up, so it's nice to see. I did, back to Commissioner Imberg's question about the pole lights. Do you have a other view from the other angle? Can you pull that up? There was so that, what brought it to my attention was the pole on the right sort of intrudes into the pathway, the throughway, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just wondering if it's really necessary. It might be for purposes of lighting and safety, and I certainly would understand that. But it just jumps out at sort of, well, So my question would be, do we have an option maybe to think about doing that a little differently? The other question I had, you're going to paint epoxy finish on this. This is the plan, right? So that's non-permeable, that's, epoxy is, I have worked with it, it's very hard to deal with later. Should you decide to do something different, you're basically going to have to tear up what's in there, correct? Is that, so just as a thought forward.
Yeah, and I think along those lines, right, currently all the paving is not permeable. So it's maybe the epoxy would have let a little bit of water through, shedding more than concrete, and some of the other paving materials, but basically it's impervious right now. So it's going from impervious to impervious, and really, like, the budget for the paving, for example, was more than the entire budget for everything else, for just the paving. So the long-range plan is to do the paving, it is to do better trash enclosure, or adding trash enclosure, and to remove trees and those other things. So this was really just sort of on a budget, how can we get this looking a lot better than it currently is?
I think it does. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
lose sight of
Yeah,
what's been done.
so we're not offended by your comments, Commissioner Lenvik, but,
Yeah.
but, yeah, so, but it is, it's exactly where we're going with it as the holistic picture, and then trying to see what can be done now. Now that
Sure.
Commissioner Ensberg.
Could I add also, our budget is like $10.99. It's a very, and so the goal is really to, we're trying to open it up and make it be visible so that you can see through, and to remove some of the obstacles so that it is safer, and then to, clean up. So,
Improve it.
yeah, they're,
Yeah,
right.
improve it, but yeah.
And also, I really appreciate the illustrations that the staff has provided. Maybe we can go back to the one, but I do want to point out that not everything is shown here. For example, on the on the left-hand side, that raised planter, those agave, the attenuata, are going to stay, but we're adding in the jade plant to fill it out, so it doesn't look so skimpy. And to Commissioner Lenvick's, the poetry part. I think, and also on the right-hand side, there are there's some, I don't think, are those curbs there? But there's
no,
also.
there aren't curbs. We apologize. This was an AI-generated
Yeah.
simulation, so
It's
it's
just
not
flush.
quite accurate. But yeah, they are just flush. Right
It's
now.
just flush, and there's just dirt there, and right now they have a bunch of pots sort of piled up on there, which we were going to remove, and then that is where we were going to also plant the jade, so it would be much more lush over there and not quite so lacking poetry, as you say. I think and then these two columns that are either side of the stairs going up, that's where we would have a couple of pots with these geraniums with the red geranium, the classic geranium. So I think these things just, all together. The other issue is that big pot in the front. If you could go to that, yes. And we talked about this after we were there, and we really want that to be a statement. We want it to be the largest pot possible. And Commissioner McClure looked, and it's, I think, what do we have it at, 54 inches? So we want it big, as big as possible, so it's really a statement piece. And then it's got this olive, very similar to the picture there, and then these kind of pokey aloes at the bottom, so that, kind of deters people from sitting there. But I think, so maybe going back to that, the illustration, the one with the pot, it'll be bigger than that. And so, and also on the right-hand side, the utilities will have a cage on them. You're going to add a cage so people don't tamper with it. And again, and to Commissioner Butler, it's all about the budget right now. It's like, what can we do right now to just clean it up and not spend money? So that was why we didn't want to take that column out, that post, the light post, because it's more money to then tie the electrical back and all of that. So that's why we thought, okay, the simplest thing to do would just be put a nice little lantern fixture up there, get rid of the 1970s globe, and, it'll add a little bit of poetry, a little aesthetic to it. And we think that is, that's a lot to get. We think it's going to be much, much improved. And both the property owners are very excited about it, and I think that it's possible that they will then also come back and do some maybe upgrades. No guarantees on this, but the awnings that are in the back could use a little bit of refreshing, and they may come in and do a more colorful awning. And certainly there's discussion by the DSBIA about possible murals, being done. But this is sort of the basic background.
Yep.
So I hear, we'd love, of course, to rip all this out and put, something nice, but it needs to just be a good flat surface and just tie it together with this paint.
And
It's
I
the
think
best-
the main thing is it's a huge improvement from what's there right now.
Yeah, and we can afford it, and we want to get it done. We were trying for Q1, but now here it's already like spring's on.
We've still got 2 weeks.
We got a couple of weeks, but, so we really, we don't want to get delayed, and just so kind of understand what the goal is here, is to really clean it up, but still make it be very visible and through where you can see to the other side. And lastly, I'll just say that I remember when Commissioner McClure was traveling in Europe, and he sent this picture of a paseo that literally was just this very simple paseo with no plants. And it was beautiful because it was just the walls on either side of the buildings, and it was just this clean, straight paseo with a nice surface, which is much more less,
Yeah.
yeah, than what this is. So I think there's lots of ways of looking at it, and I feel like, we picked the right things to focus on, the lighting, keeping that central tree, and the twinkle lights wrapped around the base, it gives it a nice focus at night. So I'll stop
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No,
Thank-
so I want to wrap up with, but with also making sure to staff that all the comments made, I think the general is going in a great direction, and all the things that are proposed are good, and we're not voting on it per se, but want to encourage staff to keep going in the way they're doing it, and we'd love to hear a report back once it's all done. It'd be great to see the photos for this phase and stage, and obviously knowing that the budget can only do so much. So, but great job, and yeah, thank you very much for all of your work on this, and especially to Commissioners Ensberg and McClure for all their work on this as well, and really, doing a great job with their volunteer. All right.
Thank you.
Is that all-
Thank you.
Yeah, I
is
think
that
that's
all
it,
we-
'cause
Is
we're
that all
not-
you need from us?
That's correct, that's all we need.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
All right, awesome, and we're gonna get a Paseo back. Woo. All right, on to item 2 now. This is project design approval for 712 San Pascual Street. This is listed on the Historic Resources Inventory, constructed in 1910 in the Craftsman style. Proposed to demolish the existing one-car garage and construct a new detached accessory structure that includes a new 2-car garage and 2 new residential units. Project includes new landscaping. The project qualifies for an exemption from further environmental review under Section 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures of CEQA. Project design approval is requested. Project compatibility findings are required. Project last reviewed on April 23rd, 2025. So,
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner
I'm
Cook.
consulting on this, and so I've been in contact with Heidi, and she said that I can come around and participate.
gotcha, yep. Sounds
That
good.
is correct, but you have to read this statement that's on the screen before you do it.
Thought you got away, but.
Sole proprietor advisory, the state fair political practices act regulation states that an official may appear before a design or architectural review committee of which he or she is a member to present, explain architectural engineering drawings which the official has prepared for a client. Charles McClure is the sole practitioner using this exemption or seeking limits for private meeting on behalf of their client.
All right, thank you. See you on the other side.
And staff has just one brief announcement before I take it to the minutes. You'll see in the minutes that Ms. Hernandez made a comment about a Phase 2 historic structures and sites report for this item, and one of the last comments is the commission agrees that the project is ready for a Phase 2. I don't know if Nicole and I just didn't have enough coffee that day. They're not proposing any changes to the historic resource, so this does not require a Phase
Okay.
2. So I just wanted to clarify that before going to the minutes.
All right, thank you. All right, so with that, if you would introduce yourself for the record, and then we'll go to the minutes, and then you'll have 15 minutes to present.
Hello, my name is Brooke Van Dyne, and I'm with Sherry and Associates Architects. And I will just get right into it by
Oh,
addressing.
wait, sorry, we'll do the minutes, and then actually, if Mr. McClure would introduce himself.
Oh, I'm Charles McClure, landscape architect.
All right, and then, okay, we'll go to the motion from last time. So was to continue indefinitely with the following comments. The commission is generally supportive of the project as it provides housing, is sensitive to the historic resource, and is well-designed within a tight site. 2, return with the site plans and elevations that include adjacent buildings as well as street and site conditions. 3, keep the roof, eave, and gable details simple, utilizing the general rule of equal or lesser than the main house in terms of complexity. 4, eliminate the false gable on the second floor of both east and west ends. Consider replacing with a belly band. 5, study the railings and consider breaking them up so that they are not as repetitive, looking to the main house for color and detail inspiration. 6, shadow studies will be needed for completion. 7, color palette to either match or be complementary to the main house. 8, proposal of hardy board siding is acceptable with the drawings accurately illustrating the proposed 6 to 8 inch version leaning more towards matching the narrow boards on the main residence, even if it's half as much. The commission encourages a narrower version as opposed to the larger version. 9, study the garage doors as they appear to be very horizontal. Consider removing the horizontal muntin in the window, fewer divisions, fewer panels, or overall simplification. 10, study the planters along the edge of the property, especially for turning clearances. 11, window treatments seem acceptable in general, but the commission recommends studying the doors and side lights to make the design more craftsman style. 12, study the porch brackets, bolster a lower angle support portion as well as connection to the porch post to horizontal supports, reviewing the craftsman examples for inspiration. 13, the support posts seem visually weak. Consider thickening the post to 6 by 6. 14, add at least one tread to stairway to increase comfort when ascending. 15, match the base detail to the main house with a similar concrete stem wall and include this in the drawings. 16, study the stair encroachment in the rear yard setback as potential for lengthening the whole building. 17, consider giving more width to the corners and the center of the building at garage level, potentially dividing the garage doors. 18, study the third floor bathroom window on the east and west elevations. 19, the commission agrees that the project is ready for phase 2 historic structure site report. Action was by Uli, which is now stricken. Action by Uli, second by Ensberg, 700. Lenvik was absent. The motion carries. All right. So with that, if you would, Commissioner Lenvik, did you review the?
I did not review this.
Okay. So questions for you, but not.
And pardon my interruption, through the chair to Commissioner Lodge, you were not on the board during this time. Did you have a chance to review?
I just realized that I spent a lot of time reviewing the historic resource report, which didn't need my, I didn't look at the previous meeting, so.
That's all right. You can ask questions.
So
just no
yeah,
comment.
questions for you as well. Okay. I think we'll still have a quorum because they don't have to vote necessarily to be part of the quorum.
Yes, we still have 5 remaining members who can vote.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with that, to the applicant, to go through how you addressed those meeting minutes as well as any other changes that were since last time we saw it.
All right, thank you. So I'm just going to start with the exterior elevations. One was keeping the roof eave and gable details simple, and we are showing that the gable detail on the new duplex is going to match the existing primary residence with a lattice detail at the vents. And we have simplified the roof line. It was recommended to remove the false second story eyebrow, and we have replaced it with a belly band as requested. And another detail that was recommended was regarding the balcony beams, that they looked weak, and to replace with a 6 by 6, which we have done. We have also beefed up the members at the railings, both for the stairs and for the balconies. And as I get through my presentation, I'll show you the materials sheet where we're showing the sizes of each of those members. But just to let you know, we have addressed that comment and beefed up the railings so that it doesn't look quite as spindly as what it did before. We were also asked to address and study the stair encroachment and possibly making the building wider. However, the encroachment for stairs and setbacks is only for a first floor landing into an entrance. So unfortunately, we don't have the space available to make the building wider and encroach the stairs into those setbacks. And then let's see, I want to show you the front elevation so that you can see also along the front, the balcony, where the members have been beefed up and doesn't look quite as spindly as what it did before. Now the support beams supporting the balcony, those are the 6 by 6s. And we have removed the false roof this that once came all the way out. That's just been taken back. So now it's just a shed roof over the front balcony. Another item while we're looking at the elevation was the siding for the existing residence versus the hardy board that we are preparing. The siding for the existing residence is only 3 inches. The smallest size hardy board that they make is 5 1/4 inches. So we're going just to go with the smallest size of hardy board that they offer, which is the 5 1/4. We have also addressed the commissioner's concerns about the garage. We have simplified it greatly from our last version. We removed the muntins that were once there. We made it a little bit more vertical than horizontal. We simplified the windows and just overall simplified the design of those garage doors. We were also asked to study the window trim for the exterior windows, and based off of what is on the existing house, we have designed our exterior window trim to match for this one. And when I get to the material sheet, I'll show you those dimensions a little bit more. And again, while we're on this, we were asked to address the bathroom window on the 3rd floor. We've reduced the size of that window and we've centered it over the 2nd floor window. It was a little tricky just because of the location of the bathtub and where we could put that so that it was still on center, being on the inside of the room and still working with the bathroom fixtures. And now I'm going to take you to the material sheet so you can see the colors that we have selected. Oops. So the primary residence will be painted to match the new duplex, and we're going to be doing the Sherwin-Williams Colonial Revival Gray and Sherwin-Williams Alabaster for the trim. One item that we were asked to address in the previous hearing was for the stem wall cast. I believe that was one of your comments, was that you wanted to see a stem wall on the new duplex to match. And we are going to provide a board form concrete stem wall at the new duplex to complement but not match the main residence. The stem wall on the existing residence will be painted the alabaster so that they're complementary to one another. And then I'll show you on the elevation. It's a 2-foot 6-inch board form concrete stem wall on the new duplex. You can see it here at the corners. And then here on the sides, you can see that as well. And then I'll zoom in. On the stairs, we took your advice and we removed one of the treads to make it a little bit longer, shallower, or lengthened to help with the ascent and descent from the stairs. And we're calling out the sizes now with 6x6 posts, a combination of 2x4 and 4x4 rail post and top rail. And the balcony railings similar, with the 6x6 supports under the balcony, 2x4 top rail, 2x3 balusters, and this matches what is on the existing railing at the front of the existing primary residence, with a 4x4 rail post in between, and then the 2x3s spread throughout in 6x6 posts. And the light fixtures that we're proposing, Craftsman style, but also very Santa Barbara. And for the exterior window trim, and like I said, this is based off of the existing primary residence. There is one large window on the front of the existing primary residence, but the exterior framing on that window is very large. The trim was 8 to 9 inches on either side, and we figured that is just going to be too large for the other smaller windows on the duplex. So we took the window trim from the side portions and rear portions of the primary residence to use. So it's a 5-inch trim on the sides, on the top, and 2 inches on the bottom. And with that said, I think that addresses all of the comments from the minutes before. So now I'm going to pass it on to Charles McClure to go over the proposed landscaping.
Can you just scroll through?
Yes.
It won't take long. So we have a planting plan, and there's some existing trees that we're keeping, the owner would like to keep them. There's some new planting in the parkway. There's a replaced hedge that's 42 inches out front, and a new gate at the front sidewalk. And we can go on to the next one. It's irrigated, and go ahead. There's lighting. Real simple, just walkway and a couple of uplights and a couple of just highlighted trees. And then notice at the top would be the, I guess that would be that'd be west, the corner where we have our special element. If you take it, hold that thought on what that little thing is with the 2 uplights, and if we go to the detail sheet, we just get a little feature when we come in off the alley. I think there's one more. Yeah, it's like a stone plinth with a pot. And that just gives the residents a little something as a focal when they come in late at night. And that's all.
And to add to his landscaping, one of the notes that we had when considering landscaping was to evaluate the planter along this edge of the driveway. Because of the backup maneuverability dimensions that we need, we are not proposing a planter on that side of the driveway.
All right. Great. Does that finish your presentation?
Yes.
All right. In that case, let's go to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. At this time, I don't have any speaker slips for in-person public comment for this item, but if anyone would like to speak, you can approach the podium at this time. But I'm not seeing any movement towards the podium. We do not have any participants online with us, and we didn't receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'll give it back to you.
All right. To the commission for any questions.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have a question on A3. Could you zoom in on that balcony detail that shows side and front? Thank you. A tad more. I want to be able to see both.
Oh, there we go.
This might be a drafting thing. The side view gives me the impression that each of those cantilevered supports have a detail on the end of them, which would suggest, when you look at the front, there are a series of them marching along, but it looks like you have some kind of ridge board. Could you explain why those two are different?
You're correct. I did make a mistake in drafting, and there is a ridge board supposed to be on those, and I will correct that and
then
provide a detail.
I guess I'll add another question. Does it have to be a ridge board? Or
Yeah,
can you
I'd rather
can
not
you
the ridge
leave
board.
Yeah, can you have it be the open
If you would
rafter?
prefer it without it, I can
Okay.
remove that. Okay.
Saved you some money.
And then the knee brace, which you're labeled as a corbel, but it's really a knee brace, isn't it? It strikes just one of those cantilevered beams.
Can you maybe go to elevation too, because as detail.
Because there doesn't appear to be a beam going across to support them. It looks like it strikes one, would be one of those exposed cantilevered beams.
Yeah, the front.
Oh,
the
I'm
front of it.
sorry.
Let's see. Well, that's just. Oh, it's done shown as a ridge board. Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Or as a. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, I guess what I'm saying is, without a ridge board, you're going to see these cantilevered, detailed beams sticking out.
And won't they want to line up with the beams?
Yes, they will want to line up with the beams. There's only 3 of them, so, it's going to be interesting, but, yeah. The 2 knee braces on the ends won't line up with one unless they're right at the corner.
Yeah, or they scoot the post in to line up.
True.
And reposition, because then the center will hit and the sides will hit.
But the cantilevered beam will not hit because it's going to be at the edge of the framing. They're going to put 2 side by side, and one has a knee brace, and one. You see what I'm saying? Right here.
Yeah, I'm saying is scoot couldn't you scoot the post in to line with
Framed in a question.
Yes.
You're clever.
But we can get into comments.
There's some resolution that needs to occur
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I think we can move the knee braces down to line up with
Yeah,
the edge.
they're
of
typically
the
on the corner.
beams. Exactly, yeah.
All right. Other questions? Commissioner Ensberg.
Yeah. Well, on to that, what they were just talking about. So there are 3. There's one in the center there, and then the 2 on either ends, right? Yeah, for the knee braces. Okay. All right, then tell me about the garage doors. What is the, I know we've been struggling with these garage doors. What is the material that's in the bottom, the big square? What is that?
A specific door hasn't been selected at this point, just since we haven't gotten to the construction documents phase. But we wanted to keep as much with the craftsman style as we can. So something that is maybe more of a wood type material, just to keep that. And we also wanted to match the new board form concrete stem wall, and something to give it a little bit of warmth and texture as well. But we have not selected a final version. When we come back for final project design approval, we should have a spec sheet then for those garage doors.
I know, we had suggested to you to simplify them, and so you have done that, exactly what we asked for. Of course, the issue is that there's so many of them. There's 4. And so that becomes a challenge of how do you make them,
I guess one question I'd have onto that is, are these roll-up?
no.
Correct.
Oh, they are roll-up? So they have divisions?
Yeah.
Okay, they're not a flat panel.
Correct. And I think we were showing those lines the first time, but those lines were misinterpreted as being part of the garage door. So it is going to be a roll-up door. And just for a clarification, it is 2 20-foot garage doors. Not 4 separate doors, but just to break it up so that it's not just one big, massive, solid sheet. We're showing it to look like it is 4 doors. Otherwise, it would just
Yes.
be an eyesore.
No, I understand the problem, but I'm not sure we've gotten there yet. But how do you feel about it? Tell me, we asked you to do this, and now here it is. So how do you feel about it? Are you satisfied? Do you think it's getting there, or do you feel like you'll get there once you start actually picking out the door?
I think once we are able to select the door, I think it will look a lot better. I feel like this is a drastic improvement over what we presented the first time in terms of simplification, because the commissioners were correct. It was too busy and too much. And this is more, I think, in line with the style of the craftsman home that is already there and what we are trying to incorporate into the design to be complementary.
Okay, well,
If there were 3 lines drafted in on each of
Yeah, I
the
think
square
that-
panels, that would help a lot.
it would help a little. Well, we'll have our comments, but I wanted to see what you thought about that. And then can we just go to the colors for a moment?
Sure.
Do you, just to confirm, you want the house and the new and the old to match? Mm-hmm. That's what you're saying. And the gray is the body color, and then the alabaster is all the wood, the railings and all the woodwork, the trim, et cetera, is all the alabaster.
That's correct.
And then the form board is what we see there, the gray. Okay, so I wanted to confirm that. That's my question. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, Commissioner Butler.
Back to the garage door. Just for a point of clarity, the top pane on the garage doors, that's not glass, is it?
Yes, those are glass.
So the top panes are glass, so you can see into the garage, the top portion of the
Correct.
garage. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right, let's roll into comments. This is for project design approval, and project compatibility findings are required. So with that in mind, and as well as a list of things that we want them to come back with, so maybe we'll just start off with a discussion to keep things moving along. Is everyone feeling that this is, in general, okay for project design approval, or is there some fatal flaw that it's not? Okay. All right, I'm seeing yes as a head.
I think it's okay.
Okay. All right, so that'll just be
Get that out of the way.
The things to tweak as you're coming forward.
I do have an additional question, though, if you don't,
Okay,
if
yeah,
you don't
let's go.
mind. Right there on the front elevation, the two look like bathroom windows in the middle of the building.
Yes,
Do they really swing?
Yeah,
They-
they have a drafting
that
something
is a
on-
drafting error, and I've already caught that, and I've already updated it on the plans. I hate that it was on the plans
I
that
don't
were
draw anymore, but I'm
submitted.
catching all the errors.
No, you absolutely got me.
Double hung functioning or the casement?
They are casement windows, and there is going to be a wall separation between the balconies there, and so they will open out and be flush against the wall.
Gotcha.
I just drew it wrong.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So does that wall you're talking about, does that go all the way up?
Yes.
All right. All right, so let's go with, who wants to start with other additional comments to refine as they come back for final approval?
I think one of the comments should be about the ridge board or edge board on the balcony. Should be eliminated.
So edgeboard and balcony to be eliminated, and for the
Knee braces and-
to align with the posts.
And associated beam that it's setting underneath.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. All right, for the windows the bathroom windows to have the casement if they're, and follow their swing, which is already done, but at least it's noted. What about the garage doors? Any thoughts on the garage doors?
They look fine to me as long as it's not T111 siding.
Okay.
I just question the glass on the top panel. That gives me a little thought about security and what you can see. I know it's at the top, but I wonder if that may not be necessary. A little bit of
Well,
thought about
one thought I had on it was actually the look of it, which actually,
Yeah.
having, you see this sometimes with Craftsman garage doors or doors, having a vertical light, actually, just simple, a couple of muntins that divide it into smaller vertical lights as sort of carriage looking things it might give a little bit effect of a little bit more screening, even though it wouldn't really, because you'll still see up. But I think in general, wherever the people are standing, they'll be standing and looking up more, so it'll be sort of the top of the garage.
Well, that's my thought. We often bring up on larger buildings, the garage entry. Well, can you see the overhead, all the
Light.
interior bizarre stuff, lights, et cetera? And I just had the same thought. It's sort of like, well, you're going to see the motor, you're going to see the rail, you're going to. So I don't know.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Just something to add, and this is something that we did discuss at the first hearing, was the security, because we're also on the backside proposing windows. And like I mentioned last time, is that there is the consideration for potential of turning one of those garages into maybe an accessory dwelling unit in the future. And so that was part of our long-term potential design options, is to go ahead and get some windows on that side. But in terms of security, we've got the windows on the back, which is, show you on the site plan, along this property line, and Charles is also providing landscaping for security on this side. There's also going to be hedge screening on this side. Really, the only portions where, and this is a very narrow alley on Orange Avenue on the back, there's not a lot of visible residences that are facing this. It's the backs of everyone's houses on this side. So I don't think there is going to be a lot of traffic to where somebody would be able to see in those garage windows, if that helps at all.
Yes. All right.
Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Ensberg, and then, oh yeah, then Vice Chair.
Go ahead.
Can we go back to those garage? Yeah, no, I don't have a concern about it. It's a very common thing, to have these, it's not unusual at all. I just am trying to figure out how to make this, and so you're saying that there's two doors.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the left and the one on the right, and it's broken up like we see. So, let me just ask this. Is it possible that you could, since they're fake, that you could make the space between them larger? For example, so between each of the pairs, you had a wider space. So
Like there's
it
a
wasn't.
false column.
It would be a false column, thank you. And I think that could really help. Right now, it just feels like this, if it could be, and maybe that's custom, I don't know, but I'm just going to ask that question. And maybe it's just,
Can you zoom in actually on them so we can make sure we're talking about the same thing? So you're saying between the two, the seam, no. Right there.
Right there.
Okay.
If you made that be a fake column wider, that might even be similar to what we're seeing over here in the middle, then it would actually look like they were two doors. And then I think that would really go a long way to helping to not have this repetitive thing going on. And then I think, as Mr. McClure said, because he's Mr. now, because he's on the other side. Then, we've got, I think you have you've got, your divisions. I think you have 3 that will go across there, and you will see them. And I think that will help to break it up. But that's just my one thought of how to do this. And maybe that would be a way to do it.
And we can study that as well.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
I also-
single door.
That's all one single door.
Yeah,
They're-
how do you you can't put a post in the middle of a single door,
No, it's not. It's a fake panel that looks
so
like.
that it will be chops on it, so it
It'll,
goes up.
yeah,
And
it'll have a line seen, so if you're looking carefully, you would notice like, oh, that really isn't a column,
Right.
but it would look like it was.
Yep.
So I think that could be good. And then the other thing I just was thinking about, and you can reject it, is whether, how a lot of times on these, this era, you will see, and I know we've got horizontal, but if you had vertical, on just the doors, I wonder if that might be something that would be worth studying. And to the window thing, maybe you eliminate the windows and just have vertical and just keep it really simple like that as another thing you could take a look at. But I'm just trying to help with this little sticky wicket. But I think you've done a really good job. Okay, and that's all I had on that.
All right, and just as a note, that approach, we've actually done that. I've done it myself on a project with a fake post with a seam, and it doesn't look so bad, Commissioner Lendick. So it can, if it's done well, it can actually fool the eye, and the seam goes away. Okay. All right. Other comments on, all right.
I did have one other.
Okay, Commissioner Ensler.
I think I'm not in love with the gray. It feels a little dreary.
Do we have the existing, let's see, the existing house color? Because we had said to complement or
Yeah.
match or complement.
Yeah, it's not really much to write home about.
Okay, so maybe I'll just,
very drab.
as a note, we'll just say to study the color with bringing in like either samples or something of the existing and the proposed.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a lot easier to
You're right,
to
rather than
judge,
trying to.
for final,
I
yeah.
agree, and then, and thank you, I think, and then my other question is do we have a strong opinion? Does the front house have to match the back house? And could they look at something that could be a little different? And
Well, I think we said match or complement.
Okay.
So I think complement leaves it open and it just needs to look nice with it. So, and then I think bringing the colors will allow for, and it's for final anyways, and that's where we want to see the color stuff.
I will say that for this color swatch, the way I guess that it translates when it gets converted to a PDF, it does read a little heavy on this because the color swatches that we had, it's not quite so
it just looks.
heavy. Yeah, it appears lighter than it does because
Will you
this
bring the
does
sample?
look dark.
You'll bring a real
Uh-huh,
sample.
yeah.
Yep.
And I just would, just say from my perspective, I would be totally open to the complement, like to let the front and the rear be different a little bit. And then I just want to say too, that I do realize that the lanterns, the black of the lanterns will add a nice little, and of course the landscape as well will be beautiful. So I think it's really well done and a great job, and thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So it looks like we're going to be looking for someone to make a motion for project design approval, and then with the following comments, and I'll just read them through here. So for the porch, or so the balcony overhang, for the rafter, sorry, the knee,
Beam support?
yeah, the cantilevered, we'll say knee brace to align with the post and the support, visually align. For the bathroom windows,
And no ridge board,
oh yeah, and no ridge board, but to have the
exposed tails.
exposed tails, carved ends, and also for the windows, for the ones shown at the bathroom as double hung, to change them to casement. For the garage doors to be continued to be studied with suggestions of breaking up additional panels, additional vertical panels, divisions of the glass portion, or eliminating the glass altogether, and of adding a false post between the two garage doors, the single functioning garage door, for the pattern to be of a.
So it looks like there's two smaller garage doors as
Yeah.
opposed to.
Yeah, so it appears that there's two smaller garage doors instead of one large. Okay, and Commissioner Entrick, I forgot, or Commissioner Lenvick, I forgot, you couldn't even comment on that, so that's good. So we don't even have to address your comment.
Can I make one quick comment that I wanted to
Sure.
address just really quickly? You were talking about those windows. So that is at the top of a stairway that is going from the living room up to the stairs. It's these two windows that are at that stairway landing, so it's not a bathroom. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then the second clarification is that they are designed to look like the single hung windows because everything that we're proposing is single hung to match the primary residence, but they will function as a casement window. And I don't think I stated that, so my
I mean,
apologies.
double hung,
Correct, yes, sorry.
but
Okay.
they're really casements.
Yes,
But they'll have the swing going the right
the
direction.
swing will go the right way this time.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So, pardon my interruption through the chair, just to kind of get the comments nailed down, do we then want to eliminate the comment about the double hung windows?
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
let's scratch the double hung portion, and let's just to look like a casement. Okay, maybe come back to us with that as well, because if is that how your big picture window with the two, like, what look like casement from here?
Those are casement windows on
On
your
either
the
side
third
of the-
floor,
Yeah.
correct.
Then I would say just go, that you have that type existing now. So just use that type.
Okay.
As the, and in which case, change it from what it looks like double hung to casement. Because I think that might be problematic, getting a double hung actually set forward and swinging, which might be a more of a mess than you need. And you have a type that you already have there, which is a casement on your. Okay, so we'll keep the comment as changing, if that works still for your design? Okay, so let's keep that comment as changing the double hung ones to function as, to look like casements, similar to the small casements on either side of the picture windows of the third floor. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
colors.
Oh, colors. Yes, to bring back samples of the colors, and that they are to be either matching and including the sample of the existing, and they are either to be matching or complementary. And we'll look forward to seeing that. And you could bring multiple options if you want. Yeah.
And also, I guess this was, is the garage doors, were they going to be all that alabaster too?
No, and when we come back with a spec sheet for final, we'll have the color selections on those
And
for
then
the
garage doors.
final
Okay,
PDA.
great.
That'll add a nice,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay, any other comments? All right, so I'm looking for a motion for project design approval with those comments.
I'll move project design approval with those comments and the following compatibility findings. The commission finds the project is consistent with its design guidelines, that the project is compatible with the architectural character of the city and the neighborhood, that its size, mass, bulk, height, and scale is appropriate. It is sensitive to landmarks and resources around it, that public views of the ocean and mountain are not impacted, and the appropriate use of landscaping and open space has been designed.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
All right, Commissioner Ensberg, thank you for seconding. Under discussion, any further discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. I'll begin with Commissioner Dorden,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Abstain?
Commissioner McClure.
Abstain.
You are abstaining, yes, that's correct. Commissioner Lodge,
Abstain.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank
And
you.
I think just for the record, I don't think he's in the, Commissioner
He's
McClure is in the room.
Absent.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, on to item 3, draft San Roque Historic Context and Resource Survey. This is a review of the draft San Roque Historic Context Statement and Historic Resources Survey report prepared by South Environmental. Upon receiving a grant from the California Office of Historic Preservation, the City of Santa Barbara partnered with South Environmental to prepare a historic context statement for the San Roque neighborhood and conduct a historic resources survey to identify and document potentially significant properties that may be eligible for local designation. So, no final appealable action will take place during this meeting. The deadline to submit public comment is Monday, March 23rd, 2026. All right, and with that, if you would introduce yourself for the record.
And Mr. Chair, may I just make a quick
Yes,
comment?
please.
Ellen Kokenda, I'm the city planner. I just want to, I'm so excited that we're here today. I do want to acknowledge that we don't have an architectural historian, a city staff architectural historian on staff at this moment, but I do want to acknowledge that retired architectural historian Nicole Hernandez saw this project all the way through the final draft in December, and that draft was handed over to Chair Grumbine and Commissioner Dorden, who both reviewed it. So we've had a lot of oversight in addition to Ms. Corder here, our consultant. So I just want to acknowledge all of that work to date. And so it's really just been a process to kind of get back here. And I was hoping that we would have an architectural historian on staff at this moment, but we're getting the conversation started. And this is one of 2 meetings that we're going to have. And thank you. Again, I'm just super super excited to share this, this work and looking forward to it. So thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, so take it away. You have 15 minutes to give us the summary if you want, up to 15 minutes, and then we'll go to public comment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Commissioners. Great to be here today. Sarah Corder, Principal Architectural Historian at South Environmental, here today to speak about the Sanroi Historic Context Statement and Historic Resources Survey Project. The project, just a little bit of background about the project. In 2024, the city received a certified local government grant from the State Office of Historic Preservation. As a result of the grant, the city partnered with our firm, South Environmental, to prepare a historic context statement and historic resources survey for the Sanroi neighborhood. The purpose of the project was to document the neighborhood's history and identify potentially significant properties that may be eligible for designation. Hold on. I am struggling with technology. As you can see from the slide here, our project goals, our primary goals for the project were to protect historic resources within Sanroi and streamline the permit application process. The great thing about the project is now we have all of the information regarding the properties within Sanroi, and when future project plans are brought forward, navigating through the permit approval process will be much more efficient and result in less time and expense for property owners. We're happy to be here today to report that the draft Historic Resources Survey report for Sanroi was completed in December of 2025. As you can see on this slide, there are multiple components to the report, including a comprehensive historic context statement and a survey matrix or spreadsheet with eligibility determinations for each of the properties that was surveyed. As part of the historic context statement, we identified two major themes within the neighborhood: residential development and institutional development. While residential development was a dominant theme in the neighborhood, there were also two important institutions that developed, Sanroi Church and the Peabody School. One of the most interesting things that we discovered through the course of our research was related to residential development, and it was the significant role that the small homes movement played in the development of the neighborhood. The city of Santa Barbara was very active and held annual design competitions for small homes that inspired the style of many of the homes present in Sanroi today and attributed many builders that were working in the Sanroi neighborhood. I'd like to now jump into the survey results for the project. The survey included inventory and evaluation of all properties that were more than 45 years old that are located within the Sanroi neighborhood survey boundaries. Survey boundaries are located and outlined, as you can see here on the right-hand side. All of the whoa, going too fast, people, sorry about that. As you can see here on this slide, 45 years old takes us all the way up to 1980, which unfortunately, that is my birth year, so I guess I am also a historic resource. So kind of disconcerting if you think about it, but
You're just eligible.
I'm just eligible, yes. I am a potential resource. They could make a form about me. But anyway, so as we talk about these types of resources, we go all the way up to 1980. Most of the things that were built in Sanroi were built before the 50s, but we do have some development kind of the 50s to the 70s. We didn't have a lot in the 80s. But when we did the survey, we were split it up into two stages. Stage one was a reconnaissance level survey, and that allowed us to quickly determine which properties did not require any further investigation, and then which properties needed a detailed review or a second level, stage two. So of the 279 buildings that we surveyed, we would determine architectural features and potential for historic significance. 122 of the 279 were flagged for stage two, the intensive level survey. During the intensive level survey, we conducted property-specific research and more in-depth surveys to determine if the flagged properties had enough potential for designation. All of the properties in the intensive level survey were evaluated using city's designation criteria. All right. So all of the results from the survey are accessible to the public through the project website. I thought it may be helpful for everyone, if we do have members of the public here today, to be able to see where you can access the survey results, and for the commissioners, if you want to go check out the survey results. This shows you a little bit about how the project website is laid out. The link to the project website is here. When you get there, there are 2 links that you can click on, and there's a little yellow box that contains both links. The resource survey is the first one, and then there's also a link, well, I guess there's 3 links. There's a link to the email address that you can send comments to, and then there's a link to the survey findings by property address. So the document that has the context statement in it is the first link, and then the survey findings link is what you see featured at the bottom on the right-hand side. And that's a list of all the property addresses with assessor parcel numbers. And then if you scroll all the way over to the right-hand side of that spreadsheet, you'll see the findings. So your findings will either be eligible, not visible, or previously designated. All right, next slide. Okay, based on reconnaissance and intensive level surveys, we determined that 62 of the 122 properties that we intensive level surveyed were historically significant and eligible for local designation. All but one of the properties that we determined eligible for designation were because they were representative of specific architectural styles. The one property that did not meet the architectural threshold but was still significant was Stephen Rutherford's house at 201 Calle Palo, Colorado. Stephen Rutherford was the original founder of the Sanroi neighborhood, and his home still remains today, but it has had some changes to it over time, so it didn't have the architectural integrity it did from the 20s, which is why it wasn't architecturally significant. For all of the eligible properties, if you see here on the slide on the right-hand side, historic significance reports were prepared for each of these eligible properties, and these can be requested by city staff. As part of the survey, 182 properties were identified as not eligible for local designation. The main reason properties can be found not eligible was primarily due to renovations. Most of the renovations included window and door replacements, changes in cladding, changes in window and door openings or fenestration changes, as we call them, large additions such as second stories, and also buildings that didn't have a really good representation of a specific architectural style. Another category of properties that we found during the survey were properties that were not visible from the public right-of-way. We stay in the public right-of-way anytime that we do survey. We do not trespass on property. So when we encounter properties that have large hedges or that have fencing that we cannot see over, we can't really survey. We can't determine the condition. We can't determine materials and things like that. So we have to record those properties as not visible during survey. We identified 26 properties like that throughout the survey. So in the survey matrix or the spreadsheet, you will see those properties recorded with an NV or a not visible. And here's a couple examples of what some of those properties look like that we weren't able to see enough of during the survey. Also, one of the things that we had no intention of finding during this was a historic district. The city had no intention of going forward with any kind of historic district, but as historians and as part of our grant, we have to look for the potential for historic district. And because there wasn't enough architectural cohesion, because there were so many alterations in Sanroi, we found that there was no possibility of a historic district, regardless if the city was looking for it or not. So that was one point that we wanted to make clear, that there was no potential for a district out there. Now, I've given you guys a lot. It's a lot to go on. It's a lot of numbers, a lot of things. So I wanted to kind of pull our presentation into pictures, because I know we all love pictures and we all love good buildings and some not as great buildings. But here we have some of our good architectural styles that we found out there. A lot of really good stuff like Tudor Revival, Spanish Colonial, Craftsman, some minimal traditional, and some ranch. So some fun stuff to see out there. And then we have some of our eligible properties. Most of the eligible properties, as I said, were going to be representative of styles. So You have some Spanish and some English vernacular, which was the most popular style out there. And the center property actually was one of the small houses that received recognition during the small house movement. And then good Tudor revival on the far right-hand side. Then a few more eligible properties are Stephen Rutherford House on the left, and then a couple more English vernaculars, so you could see a little bit of the range that the vernaculars took on out there. And then moving on to the not eligible properties, just so you have a sense of what disqualified some properties and made them not eligible. So kind of moving from left to right, on the left we have a property that was a Tudor revival, still is a Tudor revival, still recognizable, but we have brand new windows, brand new doors. We also have the entire center section that has been reconfigured, so fenestration changes throughout the center section, moving doors and windows around. And it's also been completely reclad with stucco. So these were some changes that we saw on that one. The middle one, a little bit more obvious, not as much research needed. Huge addition in the back. We were able to figure that one out from the street. We didn't have to pull the permits. And then the third one, a little bit more obvious as well. Heavy modifications to the porch, also recladding, pulling off the original siding, which we believe was probably wood, and then replacing it with stucco. And then, now this slide is a bit more interesting in my opinion, and this was one of the challenges that we had in Sanroi. Lots of beautiful buildings out there that look very nice, but when we pull permits and we pull plans, we see that things are not historic. So that was really fun for us. As you can see here, we have beautiful looking homes, and they were well done with their alterations, but our left side, we have multiple additions, all highly visible from the street, but all done with high quality materials, wood windows, stucco, everything blended. The middle one was quite the problem child for us. We did a lot of digging on that one. We found out that the porch was not original, the garden wall not original, and the doors were not original. 2 more doors were added to the front porch. So lots of changes to that one that we found through the permits. And then the one on the far right was not like that at all when it was built. We found a newspaper article and it looked a bit more like a ranch house when it was built. So kind of interesting, the things that happen over time that we were able to find through the research. So these are some of the examples of ones that were flagged for intensive level survey, but then we had to dig into the permits in the newspapers to identify some of the alterations that were made over time. So what's next? We have a public comment period on the survey report and the survey findings until Monday, March 23rd. And all comments will be submitted through the email address hlcsecretary@santabarbaraca.gov. And the HLC and our team will review the comments and make recommendations for the survey report. And once finalized, the report will be presented online and will be agendized for the April 8th HLC meeting. Once the survey document and findings are finalized, all properties that were identified as eligible will be added to the city's local register of historical resources and added to the city's historic treasures map on the city's website. And any property owners interested in designating their properties may connect with city staff to start that process. And once designated, property owners are eligible to apply for the Mills Act Property Tax Incentive Program. We encourage everyone that is listening, everyone that's here today, anyone that is interested to check out the project website, take a look at the project documents, provide comments, and attend the April 8th HLC meeting. All information regarding the project is available on the project website. The link is provided here. And we also ask that people review the significance reports on your properties. There's a lot of fascinating information in those individual reports if your properties were found to be eligible. And all comments are due by Monday, March 23rd. And I'd like to close the presentation by thanking city staff and the HLC for all their work on this project, and especially for trusting our firm to take this on. We are very excited to have worked on this. That's my presentation.
Great. You had 40 seconds left.
Woo!
Nice job. All right. So with that, let's go to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. At this time, I don't have any speaker slips for in-person public comment, but if anyone in the room would like to speak, you can approach the podium at this time.
Yeah, you can come on up. Yeah. And then afterwards, you can just fill out the slip.
Thank you very much. Just the question is, because my house was found ineligible. So the question was, why? And I can tell you where it was and everything else. And can we do anything to fix that?
Okay.
And then the last question would be, what does that mean? I mean, do I want to be eligible? Am I limited to making changes to the property if, don't ask to be, don't ask for what you don't want kind of thing. So, 3 things.
All right,
Why
so
was
yeah.
it-
So just as a note, we'll have maybe follow up with staff and they'll cross-coordinate so you can have that conversation of what the analysis was of it. And just from a basic understanding from city side and HLC side, there are sometimes cases where a house was original, things were modified, but there's enough documentation that you can bring it back to the original.
Okay.
And we have had those cases where people were able to actually bring it back, and then it can become designated. So if that is a route you want to go, that's also, and what we officially have hired architecture historian officially.
Yes, and they haven't started at the city just yet, but I can.
You could be their first case.
Yes.
No.
I think the beauty of this for property owners in San Roque in this survey area is that this work has already been done by South Environmental. So Sarah, Ms. Corder's team has done this, and a lot of time it's a reactionary process. You want to do something to your residents, and you come into the city, and then we say, oh, actually, we need to evaluate your residents. Yours has already been evaluated, so I think we can get that analysis to you.
So that's a great.
Thank you for including a picture of my dad in the report too. So.
Oh, no problem. I just want to say that there were a lot of properties that were right on the bubble. So it's possible we have research already because we did take some of them out of the eligible category. So it is possible that we already have a lot of information on your property. So I don't know which one it is, but we're happy to look into any properties.
And then, so how do I? You said you were going to put.
Yeah, so maybe reach out through
I
the
was going
city.
to say I will get in touch with you as soon as this item is over. And
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great. All right, other public comment?
Looks like we have another.
Mary
If you
Louise
could just
Days?
state your name. Thank you.
Mary Louise Days. I was the city staff person who supervised our earliest surveys, starting in the end of the 70s, and the second one was the 80s, 1980, and we produced a book with that. I live in East San Roque. We were excluded. We were not considered to be important enough, apparently, for the Rutherford Tract, which is what we called it when I was growing up, and the San Roque Tract. I would like to know how I can find in your agenda item the coverage that you gave to the old San Roque Church.
Okay.
And also, that would be in your institutions section, I gather. And I'd like to also see what's said about Peabody School, because Pearl Chase was not fond of the modern architecture when that was built. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mary Louise?
Are you wishing to speak as well? Okay. You can go
Okay.
up.
So if you can state your name for the record?
It's Molly Linthicum, and I live in East San Roque. One of my home was designated as eligible at 3219 Calle Rosales. And my question was, in order to get a historical report on the home, we didn't have a historian as of a few days ago or so. Do we work with a city planner that can help us get that reports to find out if we can be a structure of merit? Or is there some other list of historians, architectural historians that we could work with?
Mr. Chair, would you like me to respond?
Go for it, yeah.
So if can I understand, you are in the survey area?
I am.
Okay, and it was determined eligible. So
Yes.
basically, Ms. Corder and her team have done the work so they've done all the work. This is the
Okay.
benefit. So you don't have to go out and hire an additional consultant at this time because it's been determined that it's eligible. And
Okay.
then the HLC is responsible for endorsing that opinion. And once that's endorsed, then you have that information and you could pursue designation as a structure of merit.
Okay.
And then once designated as a structure of merit, then that opens you up to the
Mills Act.
Mills Act
Okay.
Property Tax Incentive Program, in
Okay,
which
great.
we can get you information on.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. So as well, I think it'd be great, reach out and get the contact info and you can get the reasons and all that. Okay, great. Any other public comment?
I don't have any other speaker slips at this time, and I'm not seeing anyone moving towards the podium. We do not have any participants online with us, and we didn't receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'll give it back to you.
All right, great. All right, to the commission for
Mr.
any
Chair?
questions. Yeah, Commissioner Butler?
Just sort of tying on to that last request, in the database, I spent some time on the database, but does it link to specific historic significance reports per line? And if not, that might be a consideration to expand that database. Because I was thinking, that's the first place I would go. I wouldn't read the report. I mean, I might read the report, but I'd go right to the database and see if my house is on there. And then if there was a link within that that takes me to the historic significance report specific to my house, that would.
So I guess that's part of the question is there going to be specific, what's the information that is going to be, available?
So, do you want me to take it? Or you want-
You
I can
go
take
right ahead, and then
So the process for this is, because it's a draft, because we don't have a vote on anything yet, everything is accessible through city staff for review through the comment period. Once everything is finalized, it will go on the treasurer's map, which will then be accessible and searchable to any property owner, which will then be linked to the actual significance report as well as whatever other available information there is, such as photos and things like that.
So there's a global search feature that crosses both the reports and the database?
It's searchable by address. I
Yeah,
think
by
Heidi is
address.
pulling it up right now. It can, you just put in the address and then it shows you exactly what information is available for a property. And the historic significance report is, if there is one there, it usually is linked on there. So that's what would eventually be loaded into that system.
Groovy.
So, Commissioner Butler, you see all these little blue dots
did, I
right
saw
here.
that,
So the
yes,
blue
yeah.
dots are this is mislabeled now because we changed the name, but it's now the Historical Register, our local Historical Register, previously known as the Historic Resource Inventory. And so these blue dots, anything that's, once HLC approves this package, then that's part of the implementation, that we get all these eligible properties added as blue dots. And then on the right-hand side, you can see that's one of the forms, the significance forms. So we have this table, we have the significance forms, we have pictures. So any property owner or anyone in the public could look up, like, what is special about this particular property and what is the historic significance of it.
So that would answer the question, is my house historic or not, or why you got accepted or not? And it's a great place to start. Nice work.
Right, and it's not up there now
Yeah, it's
because
not
of
live.
HLC's required to approve that.
When it gets our blessing, though.
All right, Commissioner McClure?
Yeah, I understand what vernacular means, but what is English vernacular? Does that just mean the average residents of this size in England? Is that what that's? Yeah. Could you describe what that really means, or?
This is a funny one for me. In Santa Barbara, there was a series of design guidelines and architectural styles that were prepared, and during the small homes movement, English vernacular cottages were kind of how they were characterized, and it was basically a scaled down Tudor. is how it was designed. And I had to explain to my team what that meant many times, and it was usually a Tudor without half timbering and without a lot of the high style features you generally would see on Tudors. So that's the best way I can describe it, is that's what it was.
Shrunken and dumbed down.
Yeah, and usually one story. They usually weren't more than one story, but a much more simplified, more cottage-style version. Sometimes with thatched roofs or like a shingle roof that looks thatched. So they're super cutesy. Super cutesy is the official term I was using. Super cutesy.
And not shrunk and dumbed down. Okay. That has negative connotations. Okay, great. Other questions? Commissioner Ensberg.
I have. Thank you, and thank you for this terrific work. Very, very exciting. Good job. I'm not commenting, I'm asking a question. On the one, when you said that it wasn't visible, did you, and we saw the one picture that you showed that looked like it would probably qualify, but you couldn't see it very well because of the bush. Do you contact and request access ever? Is that a follow-up kind of thing, or how do you deal with ones that you suspect may be, but that they're not visible presently?
To be honest, on a large-scale survey, we do not. If it was a personal, like private survey, property owner asked us, we would request access, or if it was a smaller scale survey, we would request access, but surveying hundreds of properties, we do not. We just kind of flag it and move on, just because that's what the budget requires us to do. In the future, we could definitely do things like that, but just for something like this, that's the protocol that any historian would kind of accept.
Just a sort of added question to that. So then on properties like that, and someone then goes to do an addition to it or renovation, then it's only flagged as basically not visible, so it's still in the, it will be reviewed by the architecture historian when it comes up.
So,
Is that right?
yes, so Chair Grumbine, and to the commission and to the public, so if your property is listed as not visible and our consultant team wasn't able to review that, it would, if you were interested in making changes or alterations, if your residence is 50 years or older, that's our evaluation criteria when you would need to have an evaluation. As we're in this awkward in-between and we don't have an architectural historian on staff, we don't have, like, we're having to send people out to get, to work with a consultant, which is more money. And that's really the benefit of having an architectural historian on staff, is because you get this great research that can happen in-house. So in another month's time, we will have an architectural historian who's probably going to have 1 million evaluations that have been building up. But I do just want to acknowledge that the process for you would be to, again, it's always best to start early, to come into our planning division, come to our planning counter, ask, request that evaluation. We can do that in-house here in another month. And then you'll have information on, am I eligible? If so, then what do I need to consider for alterations, additions to my home, or what's the process, and does my house trigger design review of any kind? So it really, we need to kind of understand what lane you'll be in based on that evaluation. So it's for 26 residences, and ideally, yes, we would have gotten everything, but it's just we couldn't go on the properties.
Yeah. All right, Commissioner.
I had one other.
And then,
I had one other question.
Oh, okay, Commissioner Ensberg.
And I should probably know the answer to this, but I think it maybe gets a little tricky, because that one picture you showed us where you were, you were trying to determine whether or not they were eligible or not, or where they stood in the whole thing, and there was the one that was in the middle that you really scratching your head about and you weren't sure. And it had been done well. So what happens with, if there's a project that's 50 years or older, then it needs to be evaluated. And then generally, we say we want the front, whatever's visible from the public right-of-way, we want preserved. So if you were going to do an addition or some kind of change, it's better to do it in the back where it's not seen. But so these projects was this before we were watching? Or how would that have happened, those houses that have made changes did they not have a permit, or did they have a permit? Or do you, and maybe I'm asking, maybe I'm getting too much into it, if I am.
Too much in the weeds.
Yeah.
If I may, I do want to point out that this effort is not an enforcement effort. We will not be following up on enforcement of any kind, and this is not we got you kind of moment. This is really, this follows our historic resource element as part of our general plan. This is the first time since 2011 that we were able to get grant money to do survey work on a larger scale. So, I'm sure Ms. Corder and her team probably found a mix of things. Some that might have come through permits, some that maybe doesn't have a permit on record. And that, again, we're not, it's really about trying to get property owners information to help them with future efforts. And we're trying to protect resources that we can identify and say, okay, this is, we know that this is to be true. And for you
No,
to-
I understand.
And
I'm
so
not- and
it's
I'm not
probably
su-
hard to answer on the whole. I'm sure you probably saw a mix of everything. And it doesn't, yes,
And-
we
and-
just really want to acknowledge that we will not be opening up any enforcement cases as a result of this project.
And my apologies if I even insinuated anything
Well,
like
I'm
that.
glad that you brought it up because I wanted to state that and make that very
No,
clear.
that's good.
Yeah.
Good point. And sometimes there's plenty of things to be done without a permit legally, that including like removing rotting brackets or other things that don't take a permit, but also lower the historic, integrity of the thing. 'Cause
And in those cases, they were beautiful.
Yes. That was
Really
what we saw
well
a lot
d-
of.
and it was like-
Lots of beautiful work
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that's-
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions,
Well,
Commissioner Lundvik?
My only comment was, I believe by ordinance, we are not able to designate a structure of merit if it's not visible from the street.
I don't think
So that, so for the Mills Act application, for Mills Act, the part of that is that it must be visible from the street. So should someone, let's say one of the properties that wasn't visible comes in and wants to do an addition or alterations, we would still have to evaluate it. We would need photos. That's where an architectural historian could go out, work with the property owner and go out on site and do a site visit, take photos and get that information that Ms. Corder's team wasn't able to get because it was only from the public right-of-way. So that's where that kind of more personal attention that our city staff architectural historian can do. And then once it's determined, then it kind of goes through our HLC process, which is to determine if it's eligible or not. If it's eligible, then they can pursue structure of merit and of course the Mills Act. And Mills Act has that visibility requirement. So if you
But
have a hedge, you might need to bring it down, or that is part of the consideration. Because the point is that it's a community benefit to have these historic resources and that we should be able to see them.
And
So-
pardon my interruption, if I could just add on, and Ellen can correct me if I'm mistaken. I think what Commissioner Lenvik is thinking of is the historic assessment, if a property is 50 years or older, is only triggered if someone is proposing an alteration that is publicly visible. So for a property that's completely obscured, the entire house isn't visible, it might never trigger a historic assessment. For a property that's partially obscured, there was one picture that Ms. Corder showed where it was only the roof was visible. If they proposed a roof alteration, that would trigger a historic assessment. So I think that's the part of the ordinance that you're referring to where it can't be assessed for, or it doesn't trigger the historic assessment unless the alteration is publicly visible.
Okay, but they could still become a structure of merit even if they're not visible from the street.
Correct.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Jordan.
Questions. First of all, I'm very pleased with the report for reasons I will explain during the comments, but I have some questions. Most of the questions deal with the nature of this document. And I believe I remember early in the process, there was a discussion, the people conducting it had an iPad. They were using that as a tool. Is that your tool or is that city-owned?
It's ours.
It's our tool. Does that mean that they were using that iPad to record information and take pictures? Is this a digitally born document?
Yes and no. We use The way that we survey is they use the iPad to take photographs, and because we have addresses, we don't have to take points on the iPad because they can just say they're at this location. So the ArcGIS knows that they're at an address, so they just select the parcel. So the parcel data is what ties it together. So it's not. It's digital that way, but the writing and all of that context isn't tied directly to everything. So like the survey data exists in GIS, and then all of the written data exists not in like a GIS format, if that makes sense.
But is the written data, was that entered originally as digital, or was it hard copy that was later scanned and turned into the document?
It was a mix of both. So they collected basic field data, and then we expanded in the office. So they quickly would record materials, and then we could verify as we were kind of going. So they have like check boxes, but is it like, it would be like, are they double hung windows? Are they wood or are they fiberglass? Like very simple, basic things. But then when we're writing descriptions, like we're expanding the descriptions.
And I'm curious, I assume you were working with some sort of templates for connecting yours. On this issue of something that was not visible and a homeowner stepped forward and said, I'd like to figure out does the city have that template? In other words, could it be quickly entered into the same structure?
They do not, but it's something that could easily be created. I mean, it's available. It's out there on the market. It's available.
I'm trying to figure out what the structure, literally, of the document is, and then how easy it is to add or refine it after your contract is up.
Yeah, so we, I can speak a little, I think I know what you're getting at now. So the historic significance forms that we developed, Nicole and I worked on those together, and we developed them as a template so that in the future, someone could follow the template to set the descriptions up in a way. They're not exactly like, in our world, we call them Mad Libs, where you just write, it's a blank story house, it's a blank story commercial building. And someone could take our template form and use that moving forward. The context would be what would change the most. But that is a template that's set up now. So there's a lot more consistency than there was prior to the survey because they were kind of a little all over the place before. Yes, so that is owned by the city, for sure.
Right, and we have that process, and we can kind of plug and play. We just we don't use the iPads to go out and take the photos, but generally we're not doing large scale neighborhood surveys by city staff. So it's kind of a different tool, but the standardization and the templates and the way that we can connect this information so that the public can be able to access it is really critical and something that Ms. Hernandez and Ms. Corder worked on.
The last question, and you may not know the specifics, details, but I'm thinking about some of the illustrations in the historical report of the original plats, the original tracks and so forth, and where those images came from. And I'm curious how many generations away from the original, the image that we're looking at, were you able to scan original stuff, or was it then you found a book and scanned out do you have any idea about that?
Originals.
Originals.
Yeah, the Glide Hill has the originals.
Excellent.
Yes.
Those are my questions.
Great. All right, well, why don't we roll, is there other questions before we roll into comments? And we're going to start with Commissioner Jordan, because he's the most important one here. All right, let's roll into comments. Go for it.
I said I was pleased with the report. I'm very pleased to see the report. And I had seen an earlier version of it, and I have a couple of comments. First of all, in terms of community outreach, I think this was exemplary. I think there was a real effort to reach out. I think that's important so that there's nobody in the neighborhood who can say, I didn't know this was happening. I think that's important, and I think this was well done. I'm curious, over a long period of time, I think the comprehensive historical reports have probably evolved in different ways, and I just want to comment about some of the information that's in this. there is in this one references to restrictive housing covenants. And that's important. It's important that it be an honest history in order to be a persuasive history. So I think that's important. San Roque is primarily a residential area, and the account of the history of housing is very strong. It includes accounts of the small house movement, FHA, kit houses, and I think that a lot of that is linked to a national context for the small house movement. In other words, it takes the local and puts it in the context or the frame of a larger national issue. I suspect that's a fairly, I think it's an important part of a comprehensive historical survey like this, so I was pleased to see that. I think the section on architectural styles is fine. It's good boilerplate language. I'm pleased to see a contractor builder like Henry Lasky included. Not just the architects, but somebody who had a major impact on building a particular area. It's primarily residential. There's the San Roque church and school. One thing I'm curious about, you mentioned there seem to be a lot of Catholics moving into that, and I guess it's a question. Do you have any idea what the demographic push was? Why it turned out to be such a, according to the report, a high enough percentage of Catholics to support adding a parish? Do you have any idea what that was about?
We conducted some interviews at the Mission Archives to understand that, and they said that they didn't really have any data on it either.
Okay.
Like, it just kind of happened that way.
Okay.
And then there was a lot of military people, and that, like, because of the Army Reserve Center, because of the, like, the military influence, that brought a lot of people that were Catholic. I didn't really pair those two together, but they made that connection as well, so.
And last comment, the architects for the San Roque Church, Bartlett and Ott, we recently were discussing them. This is a much more important work. This is a significant piece by them. So those are my comments. It's a comprehensive, well-done report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. All
Sure.
right, Commissioner
I just
McClure.
want to say bravo. It's so important and it's so exciting and just very, very nicely done.
Thanks.
It's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Others, anyone else want to chime in on that? Commissioner Ensberg?
I am very grateful for Commissioner Jordan and for, bringing up all of those comments. I completely agree. And it's, just the recognition of, our historical assets that we have. And I remember when we got the grant and when that was all happening, and I'm just so grateful for it. And I hope that we can seek more grants and expand, and I appreciate what Ms. Days, Mary Louise Days had to say, and, that there's obviously more places that need to be captured. So hopefully we can get more grants and do more of this work. So I just really commend you and thank you. And I also will make the little plug for having, since we're getting a new historian, this little department thing that we've kind of been throwing around, it would be really great if they could have their own, this new person and maybe one other person with them to really help and focus on all of this work, of which there is so much in Santa Barbara that we're fortunate to have. So, thank you.
Great. All right, any other comments? All right, so it looks like we have no final appealable action for this item. So this is just, I guess, to summarize our comments and then move it forward. So, yeah, to summarize, I think that from the commission, we're extremely pleased with the report. We thank you for all the hard work and all the staff's time and hard work, and Nicole, wherever you are.
She's in Rome.
Probably in Rome, yes. Thank you for all of her hard work and to get the grant, and for the staff for all the coordination for the outreach. What an excellent job this was in terms of outreach and community input, and and really giving us a great framework to continue this neighborhood and the discussion of it and the awareness of it. So I want to thank you and great job with everything. And the additional comments that Commissioner Jordan made, including the honest history and with the restrictive covenants, and then as well for contractor builders who, even though they're not as cool as architects, no, I'm just kidding. You guys are cooler, or very cool. All right, for including them as well as, and yeah, the very thoroughness of this report. So.
Mr. Chair, if
Yes,
I may
appreciate
ask a consideration for you to add to the comment, to please, for those on the audience and watching or who will be watching, to please let your neighbors know about this. And if you have questions, please come talk to, submit your comments to the HLC secretary, contact us if you're interested in seeing those forms, if your properties are eligible. I just
Yep,
really,
all that.
we've got all of that through March 23rd. We're here to support you and answer questions.
And now we actually have an architecture historian, which will make it easier. All right. Yes, to add that as well for all the public and the neighbors. All right. So with that, I think that's a summary of the comments. I don't think we need a vote, or do we want to vote to continue?
Yes, it would
with
just,
that?
the motion, because it's here for a concept review, the motion would just be to continue to April 8th, 2026, because that's when the.
Okay.
Motion to
Commissioner Jordan?
continue the item to
He already
April.
beat you to it. I'm going to let him have
Then I'll second.
it. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Under discussion, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for great work. All right, so with that, there's nothing else, right? So the meeting is adjourned in the